Hello viewers, Super GT here with another karting onboard from the Spa-Francorchamps karting circuit in Belgium. So you may well have seen the previous video, and thank you very much for watching that one. Got a decent amount of views, so it's clear that the people are asking for more of this, and here is another very good race, starting from 31st on the grid, so starting at the back once again, and this time I've added a position counter, which you see top right, into the first corner. And there's a big pile-up in the centre of the circuit, and as I was just going to go to the outside, it kind of developed. There's another guy in the wall there, and I had to just bail out, go to the outside. I actually pushed the guy wide a little bit, as I couldn't quite react in time. But we gained a couple of positions up to 24th, courtesy of that carnage through turn 1. Up the inside into the hairpin, gain another position, and move up into 23rd. So 66 laps here. This race is an hour long, so it turned out to be 66 laps in total. I do apologise if my speech is a little bit strange, because I have braces in, and this is my second day with braces, and I'm just still trying to get used to them. So if I could become a little bit lispy, like our boy Jimmy, then that's your explanation. So, lap number 1 done, and we've moved up 8 positions. So it's an hour-long race. And this one is a team race, so we'll have to come in and swap over to another driver. So there's basically one compulsory stop in the middle. You have to swap, or you can actually stick with one driver, but we're going to swap our driver halfway through, and you take on fuel. That guy goes wide, gain a position up to 22nd, and into the hairpin, the big choke point on the circuit. So my previous race wasn't the best, as we go up another position. All you got to do there, when someone goes for the move, to kind of just follow them through the best you can. So my previous race that I've showed on the channel wasn't the best. It was okay. We came through from 32nd to 6th place, and we go up another position. But in that race, my kart had a mild lack of acceleration. But this kart is most certainly the opposite. It's really performing very well, as I can really easily go up the inside of people through the infield section and up the straight, as you just saw. So lap number 3 up into 19th, gained 12 positions in 2 laps. So not quite the 19 in 90 seconds that we've done at Wilton Mill, but it's always, a lot of it depends on luck in terms of how many positions you can gain. You know, if that pile up at the beginning was a lot bigger, someone else has gone off there. If that pile up on the first lap was full of 10 people rather than 3, then, well, you've got a bit more luck there. They're just covering off this guy, so that kind of shows you there. If you got the inside, you do leave yourself vulnerable on the exit, and people can cut you back. But eventually, we go for pretty much a double cut back. So he cut me back, and I cut him back, and we go back in, or we go up into 17th place up the main straight. This is uphill. Maybe can't quite tell, but it is an uphill straight. And you can see just on the right hand side of the screen there, the leaders of the race filtering through the exit turn 2 here. Got to watch out for that tyre wall, as Tyler Mays found out to his peril on lap 1. Coming down the double downhill left-hander, right on the tail of the driver ahead. The space opens up at the inside. Dodgy place to go for a move. It does really tighten up a lot. So you mostly think the hairpins are the best place to go for moves, but that one is so tight it actually is quite difficult, because you can quite often run into the back of the car ahead of the one that you're trying to overtake, as I almost did. So you do have to judge it very finely. Pit lane on the left hand side there, and we'll come to that later in the race as we go in for our pit stop. So lap number 5 now, fast forwarded a little bit. The space opens up there. This was my favourite overtaking opportunity here, as people go over to the left hand side to open up the corner on the entry, and it just leaves the inside open. The camber kind of helps you round. You can actually really go in there flat out, because you're just coming out of the hairpin with from low speed. You don't really have to brake. You can just throw up the inside and get the position. Kind of catches people napping when you do that. And coming across the line, I don't know what I'm doing there. Probably just adjusting the camera, because sometimes the mount would move slightly. So lap 6 out of 66, the number of the devil is on the screen. Are we going to be able to go up the inside of this guy? Not quite. I had about 10% of the kart alongside. Can't really expect him to give me the space there. and eventually into the hairpin. There we go for the move. Get the job done. Up into 14th. You see the group ahead. So we've got one car directly in front and then a little bit of a gap. So hopefully we can get past this guy as quick as we can, and then go about trying to catch up with that group up in front. So come down here, the kart you really notice the slipstream in these karts. When you're right behind someone, you really do feel the difference. It does definitely make a difference. And someone asked in the previous video, how close do you have to be to the kart in front to notice? Normally I would say about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. It's hard to judge exactly how close that is in meters, but from about here, when you're about that close, maybe 2 or 3 kart lengths behind, you can actually begin to notice it. Up the inside we go there, no messing around, straight up the inside, up into 12th place at the end of lap number 8, coming up the line, coming up the straight to cross the finish line. Motley with a strong, robust defence, and I'm going to slam my way up the inside. No prisoners being taken today, up into 11th on lap 9. So the progress is very good at the moment. And so similar to the previous video, we started right at the back. So in the previous video we started 32nd, this one 31st. So a lot of overtaking to be done. But in the previous race, I felt as though my kart didn't quite have the bottom end. So coming out that hairpin, I couldn't quite go for that move there, which I just done, which was my favourite place to go for the move. But in this kart I felt a lot more confident. I could get on the throttle a lot earlier and it would be more stable, and could, as a result, go for the lunges into that turn. Lap number 12 now, progress has been made onto the back of Titan Motorsport. Go about getting this move done down here. You're relying on the person ahead to make a mistake to go for a move into this corner. So not quite going to happen here. There was tyres on that curb there. You might be wondering why that happened. Basically there's a drain on that curb which was coming up, so big metal chunks were basically coming loose, and it was very dangerous, so they just covered it up to try to keep people away from it. So this back marker here just gets shown wide and then leaves the space open, so we gain that position there as we come through this fast sweeping right. Very nice corner to take into the final chicane. Very technical, difficult chicane this, and crucial as well because you're coming out onto this main straight, uphill, long straight. Guy looking behind, I've got the overlap, he points me through, so he knows that Super GT is coming through the field. There's no point in fighting, he just points me through, minimised his time loss. Sensible decision, I'd say. If everyone did that to me, I'd be very happy, but you can't really expect that, obviously. Up the main straight once again, lap number 16 done. 17, is he going to point me through? Not quite, don't have enough of an overlap. And he turns in, I have to back out. So I've got a back marker here. There were a couple of drivers who were a long way off the pace, maybe like 4 or 5 seconds off the pace. And when you caught up to them, you just hoped that it was in the right place. So is this guy going to go through up the inside? Yes he is, I'm going to follow him through. That's a really good, easy overtaking manoeuvre. When you're right behind someone, if they go for the move, just follow them through, and it just leaves the person being overtaken with just no opportunity to get back in, and just leave them stranded on the outside. So we go past him quite easily. We go about getting this position, looking up the inside, maybe not quite, don't have enough of a run into the chicane, just got to get this nice, then we could perhaps have a move up the main straight into turn 1 once again. But you see here, our cart's fairly even. He does move across, covers the inside, so I have to wait for now. And you don't really go out fully to the left-hand side for that turn 1 into turn 2. So it is quite a tricky place to go for a move, unless they make a big mistake. The best places are these 2 infield corners here, the left-hand hairpin. I'm going to size him up and go for the move up the inside. Perfectly done. The problem here, of course, you can see that as I try to shudder the kart to get a bit of acceleration, you leave yourself vulnerable on the exit by going up the inside. So lap number 19 now, we're approaching the 20th lap, roughly about a third of the way into the race, and a nice exit there. You can see the difference as we come up the main straight. Have I got enough of an overlap? He does look across, and I think that makes him aware of my presence, so I just send it and go up the inside. Okay, so this is the leading group now. I'm in 6th place. You can see the guy in the orange suit at the front of this group. That is the leader. So we've managed to catch up to the lead of this race within within the space of 24 laps, and I can't even speak. Up the inside of this guy. Now he was a back marker actually, as it turned out. I was just looking at all of the results and all of the lap timings, and that was a back marker. You see someone just peeled into the pit lane there, so that's where we gained a position up into 5th, up behind Scuderia Christus Hicks, with Tom Dix behind the wheel at this moment, up into turn 1, and you can see again the driver in the orange suit about 2 seconds ahead. They were probably the main rivals throughout the whole weekend. So progress is good at this point, not quite able to make a move into that corner, but again sizing him up, just trying to follow as close as possible through here to potentially go for a move into the hairpin. Not quite close enough on this occasion, but right on his tail. Is it possible to go for a move here? Yes, we're going to send it, but that kind of shows you how fine the margins are. Went for the move, didn't quite get enough of an overlap, and he can get the run on the outside, so he keeps his position for now. Still in 5th at the moment. I want to make our way through this pack as quick as possible, just to really minimise the time loss. You can see some water drops there, and Spa is very well known for being very, very unpredictable in weather. Tom goes very defensive on the inside, and I'm going to follow him through again through turn 2. I think that was a back marker once again. So the weather beginning to change. It was scheduled to kind of be very overcast, which you can never really tell what it's exactly going to do. Don't quite go for the move there. Tom very late on the brakes, following through. Can we potentially go for the move here? It opens up, and we're going to send it a lot more this time. Up the inside we go, up to 4th. So the rain beginning to slightly fall, and the stint coming to an end. Things are getting very interesting by this point. We just run a little bit wide, and up to 3rd by this point, courtesy of someone going into the pit lane from in front. So lap 29, approaching halfway, so we're going to be thinking about changing our driver at some point here. Up the main straight into turn 1. So we've got plenty of back markers. The orange suit, you can see how much closer we've got over the last couple of laps. Definitely that gap has come down, probably to about 1 second now or less. The main problem is the back markers, as one in the blue suit goes very wide. So the back markers are beginning to become an issue, so you have to fight through the traffic. And as part of the strategy, you could always try to pit now as that space opens up the inside. So you could always try to pit in front, or before you get to a big group of back markers, and just pit yourself in, and just therefore you don't have to waste your time trying to overtake all of them. The space almost opens up into the fast downhill right, doesn't quite. Enough though. Again, this is a back marker. We're in 2nd. Orange suit is 1st place. So these drivers here are back markers. It's always hard to tell though at this point when you're in the race, who is who. It is quite hard to tell. I know the orange suit is definitely ahead for position, but some of the drivers are quite fast despite being a lap down, but probably a lap down because of their pit stop. And into the hairpin, are we going to be able to go for a move here? Not quite close enough. You really do have to be very close. You basically have to be right on their bumper, otherwise it's not going to work. So Jack in the orange suit goes up the inside into this one, and he does get the job done, although he gets a bad exit, and it's all going to kick off here. So I'm going to go for the cutback on the exit of this turn, get past this back marker, although it's going to be a drag race down towards this second to last turn, and we get the job done. So now it's a straight fight between the two of us for the lead of the race. So Jack, racing as part of racingclassics.com, tucked into that slipstream. You can see the difference here. Once you're tucked into that slipstream, definitely quicker up this straight. And this car was really performing very well, as I think the temperature beginning to go down at this point, as the rain just begins to drop slightly at this point. You might be able to see it. I can't quite tell if you can see it, but there are slight drops, and I'll be noticing it on my visor at this point. You just know when it becomes a little bit more damp. As you start to turn into the corners, you just have a slight bit less grip. And perhaps at this point it is an advantage to be behind, because Jack in the orange suit, he's going to be the first one to go into each corner, and I can just kind of adjust and do it a little bit differently. If he goes a little bit wide, I know that he's a little bit more wet than we might think. So he's looking behind, he definitely knows that I'm here. I'm going to move to the right hand side, he moves over, covers it off, so we can't quite go for the move there. Lap 33, so at the end of this lap we are halfway into the race. That tyre was sticking out massively there, almost into it, almost hit it. Coming down the hill into the double left, he covers it off. So he definitely does not want to let me pass at this point, as we come into the hairpin, and no covering off there, but I'm not close enough to really go for the move. As I look the inside here, didn't quite time my momentum quite well enough. We've got a G3 driver here, he points us both through, which is actually very convenient. So we both go past that back marker without any time loss. Now Jack goes into the pit lane there, so he peels off to the left hand side, and at this point here we take the lead of the race. So now it's really a matter of just having some really good in-laps and then having a good pit stop. As we come up the main straight here, you can see there, that is the signal for a wet surface. So the race directors have obviously noticed that it is raining, they just let you know basically that you don't want to do something stupid, send yourself to the shadow realm because you brake too late or something. So just really trying to, it's a hard situation this, because I'm in the lead of the race, I'm at the front. It's hard to judge because there's no one directly in front of me, although I have got two cars there. But the rain wasn't quite strong enough to really change the lines. You can still drive the normal dry line. And as all the karts go around, there's 35 karts in the race. As we're all going around, we're all kind of drying up the track as we go around. So it takes quite a lot of rain for it to actually become properly wet. So a nice exit there through the final chicane. I'm going to go up the inside, go past another back marker, and as I said, at this point of the race it's really just a case of trying to minimise all your time loss so that by the time we come out of our pit stop we're still in the lead. That is the most ideal situation. So we're going to run for the last lap or two before our pit stop. So it's all becoming a bit choked up here, lots of back markers and lots of potential for time loss. I was looking up the inside, probably not the best place to go for it, going 3 abreast into turn 1 as we follow this guy through. So again, just trying to get past as quickly as possible. As I did kind of bump him a little bit just to make sure I got past the other back marker. Through here, just gets a little bit wide, gets caught on the AstroTurf, or gets caught on the sort of the weird bumpy curb on the exit, and it really just shows you wide basically, and you can't keep it under control. So the space just opens up and you get through quite cleanly. So I'm going to be going into the pit lane this lap. You might see my left hand going down into the fuel cap at some points during the lap just to really loosen it up. Well, actually I think I'm going to go around one more lap. Yeah, so at this point I'm going to go around one more lap as the team wasn't quite ready. So we come through the final corner, and it's really a matter of time when you come up to someone, because sometimes you can come up to them at the wrong moment and then you can kind of halt your momentum if you get a good run on the exit. If they've got a slow exit, space opens up, chuck it up the inside. So trying to have a really good run here on our last lap. See, I put my hands up there, I can see the signal, and I drift really wide. You can see there a lot wider than normal as I come through that fast left. The kart just wanting to not turn in basically, not comply with my request to turn left. So come through the fast sweeping right, or medium speed sweeping right, and again just loosening that fuel cap to make sure that it's going to come off quickly when we go into the pit lane, because we are going to refuel here. So there we go, the signal is up, we're going to come into the pit lane, sweeping into the left hand side, flying in, and then undoing the fuel cap into this fast chicane, very slow chicane, but I'm taking it quite quickly, and moving over to the left hand side to the fuel bowser, get out as quickly as possible, turn the engine off, out we get, pass the fuel cap over and get the hell out of the way, and that is our pit stop done. That's my work done. Now over to Ian Blake to complete the job as he gets in the car a little bit awkwardly, but he kind of broke his arm about 2 weeks ago, so he's doing very well just to do anything here. So this is lap 64, the guy in orange helmet who actually started at the back with me doing the entire race, and you might have seen him at lap 1 basically, we overtook him on lap 1. This is lap 65, so only one more to go. This is the penultimate lap. Going on to the final lap, Ian Blake managed to get back into the lead. With 1 lap to go though, the guy in the orange helmet, he loves a full send. If anyone epitomised the Ayrton Senna quote of send it, then he does. And as you see there, final chicane, it's not the best place to go for it, but he just absolutely sends it. He went for the gap, and he is a racing driver. As he crossed the line, we won the race. And here's my celebration on this actual Spa podium. But unfortunately, at the end of the weekend, we didn't win, but it was a great weekend. We finished second overall, and it was Racing Classics who won. The GOAT team, as you can see here. They drove really well both days, and here's my team: Ian Blake, Jay Elliott and Pete O'Connor. And there's us on the podium, finishing second overall. Great weekend, amazing weekend, absolutely loved it. Hopefully I'll be able to do it again next year. But let me know your thoughts as always. Hope you enjoyed the video. I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.